Experience 7 divine chakra healings. Manifest miraculous luck and supernatural blessings revealed. In the heart of a quaint English village, Sarah kneeled before the simple wooden altar, her fingers clasping her grandmother's rosary, feeling the coolness of the beads as they passed through her fingertips. The faint scent of incense wafted through the air, mingling perfectly with the sound of the pastor's voice, echoing promises of divine healing. In that sacred moment, Sarah's heart burned with longing for hope, for the miraculous, for answers to her family's struggles. These 7 sacred moments, the pastor spoke of, woven into the fabric of enduring virtues, set her spirit aflame. Patience, love, service, forgiveness, compassion, humility, and faith. Each felt like a light pulsing within her, as she pondered how these could guide them towards restoration. The world outside seemed bleak, heavy clouds stretching over her once lively home. But here, surrounded by the vibrant stained glass hues, Sarah imagined miracles waiting just beyond her reach. Yet whispers of doubt coiled around her like winter frost. Friends and family looked at her with skepticism, murmuring on the sidelines of her fervent faith. "You're chasing shadows, Sarah," they would say, their words laced with concern. "What good is prayer when reality looms so large?" Still, she could not yield. Deep in her heart, she believed. She remembered how Jesus multiplied the loaves and fishes, how simple faith could yield great blessings. Each evening, as darkness enveloped their little home, she gathered her children's soft smiles beginning to sprout from their otherwise beleaguered faces and led them in unyielding prayer. "We're asking for miracles, my loves," she would whisper, her voice quivering with the weight of their asking. One night, she touched upon the notion of divine healing, as if to wrap her family in a protective cloak, her fervent intentions intertwining with the soft glow of candlelight. But then came that voice on the breeze, "Pray without ceasing," nudging her heart toward surrender even more deeply. It felt more than a command. It was a calling. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue. Then it happened. A thoughtful neighbor arrived at their door, eyes sparkling with understanding. She offered a basket filled with fresh produce, a symbol of the community spirit that had once thrived around them. The warmth of her kindness seemed to wrap around Sarah like a cocoon, igniting her spirit with renewed fervor. Each humble gesture began weaving the fabric of hope. Yet as blessings began pouring in, a shadow loomed. Doubts intertwined with faith, as whispers of skepticism continued to swirl about their village, too often held fast to disbelief. Sarah felt the tension rise within her. Could her newfound hope withstand the impending storm? Just as she had begun to watch what's blossoming in her home, a sudden challenge rose like a fierce tide, threatening to sweep her back into despair. The answer still hidden from her. Would the community rally around her, or would they turn away? The questions nagged her heart, leaving only one certainty: she had to hold tightly to her faith. If not for herself, then for her children. All that remained was to see which light would win, the warmth of hope, or the coldness of doubt. The days that followed felt like a pendulum swinging between hope and despair. Each dawn, as Sarah awoke to the soft light spilling through her window, she felt a spark within her, an eager flame flickering to life. But by dusk, shadows crept in, and the doubts would settle like a heavy fog. The community, once vibrant and engaged, seemed dulled by unspoken expectations and unkind whispers. The weight of it all pressed upon her frail shoulders. Yet, even in moments of uncertainty, she found solace in the tender giggles of her children, as they played by the hearth. Their laughter was a balm, a reminder of the hope they still clutched in their small hands. One evening, as they huddled under a worn blanket, her youngest, A bright-eyed boy named Samuel reached up to touch her cheek. "Mummy, will God really help us?" he asked, his voice a chime of innocence. His question struck deep in Sarah's heart. Would God truly help them? As the world around her urged her to doubt, Samuel's trust illuminated a path back to faith. "Yes, my love," she replied, fighting tears. "He hears us always." That night, the air in the cottage felt different. It was charged with an energy she could not explain. Sarah clasped her grandmother's rosary more tightly, closing her eyes to settle into the familiar prayer. She prayed deeply, with every ounce of her heart, inviting the 7 sacred virtues to envelope her family. With each invocation, patience, love, service, forgiveness, compassion, humility, and faith, she envisioned each virtue wrapping their struggles in a protective embrace. Soon, visions of the village flickered in her mind. She could see the streets that had borne witness to the laughter, the tears, and the gatherings of neighbors. But now, they felt distant and unwelcoming. Sarah longed to bring those connections back, igniting the warm spirit that once flourished among them. As the days turned into weeks, a beautiful chain reaction began. One by one, neighbors began to reach out. An elderly woman brought over a tray of freshly baked bread, and soon after, another family dropped by with baskets overflowing with vegetables they had grown in their garden. It was as if, through Sarah's unwavering hope, each act of kindness stirred the hearts of those around her. The quiet shame of uncertainty began to lift, replaced by a brave resolve that stirred within the village. But as blessings multiplied, so did her fears. Was she merely chasing an illusion? Could she believe in miracles while the world around her seemed set on doubt? On a particularly cold evening, Sarah stood before her window, wrapped in her shawl, watching the snowflakes drift down from the harried sky. Her heart wrestled with the weight of the coming Christmas. Often viewed as a time of joy, she feared it would instead mark the gaps in their lives, the longing for connection that felt impossibly far away. Then it struck her. What if this Christmas became a catalyst for something greater? What if she invited the village to come together in unity, to share not only food but hope during a time when spirits were meant to soar? As the thought planted itself firmly in her mind, she sensed a stirring in her heart, a call to action, beckoning her to rise above her fears and embrace a new purpose. Could this be the beginning of a miracle? Determined, she gathered her children, and with a spark of newfound hope, said, "Let's prepare for something wonderful. Let's share our table and our hearts this Christmas." A new fire ignited within her, feeding her faith. But little did she know, this was only the beginning of a journey that would reveal more than she ever imagined. As the dawn of Christmas approached, the air was thick with anticipation. Sarah could feel it in her bones. The village was waking, slowly returning to life. The laughter of her children danced like cheerful melodies through the cold winter air, lifting her spirit skyward. Each day, she ventured out, inviting neighbors, strangers, and friends to join in a celebration of unity. With every step she took in the village, she felt as if she was weaving a tapestry of hope. The previous hesitations began to fade, replaced by open doors and warm smiles. Standing in front of her neighbor, Mrs. Eldridge, Sarah offered an invitation. "Please join us for Christmas dinner. We aim to celebrate togetherness." The elderly woman's wrinkled face lit up, revealing a spark of excitement she thought long gone. As word spread like gentle wildfire, a sense of purpose wrapped around Sarah. She could almost hear the whispers of encouragement echoing in her heart, gently urging her onward. But shadows still flickered in the corners of her mind. What if nobody showed up? What if it was a disaster? She took those worries as they came, folding them into her prayers, allowing them to be lifted up like smoke from candles, vanishing into the heavens. In the days leading to Christmas, Sarah and her children transformed their modest home into a warm sanctuary. Bright ribbons coiled around the door, wreaths adorned the windows, and a small tree barely taller than her children stood, proud in the corner, its branches adorned with handmade ornaments. Each ornament was a testament to their creativity, each telling a story of joy, laughter, and little victories. On Christmas Eve, as the sun dipped below the horizon, a vibrant glow filled the room, wrapping them in comfort. Sarah lit a single candle at the table, the flame flickering like faith amidst doubts. They gathered, hand in hand, voices raised in gratitude, a powerful declaration to the universe that they were ready to receive. Then, as if orchestrated by divine hands, neighbors began to trickle in. Families that had been strangers just weeks before now arrived with laughter, food, and shared stories. Each face was woven into a beautiful fabric of fellowship, blending old traditions with new beginnings. The hearth blazed brightly, crackling as if echoing the collective warmth rising in their hearts. As they feasted, the air filled with voices sharing not just meals, but intentions, dreams, and laughter. Samuel, with his innocent enthusiasm, sparked a game of carols. Each note a tender reminder of love and community binding them together, knitting their lives closer. And in that moment, Sarah witnessed a miracle. Joy surged through her like a flood, washing away remnants of doubt. She sensed the divine giving of love, flowing unmistakably through the hearts around her. In the warmth of shared smiles, the spirit of Christmas embraced them all. However, as they gathered closer for a final prayer, Sarah sensed something still lingering in the air. It was a question, an urge that ran deeper. What lay ahead for them after this beautiful moment? Was this just the beginning of something even bigger? As they closed their eyes to seek guidance, Sarah felt an overwhelming stirring in her spirit, a gentle nudge toward greater challenges and deeper blessings. The moment of divine intervention began to unfurl, and she braced herself for the revelation that awaited them. A hush fell over the gathering as Sarah led her family and friends into prayer. The weight of anticipation settled upon them. Each person's heart pulsed with hope, and as she spoke the words of gratitude, she felt an invisible thread connecting them all. It was a beautiful moment, a tapestry spun of pure intention and heartfelt wishes. Just as Sarah uttered the final amen, a soft glow flickered beyond the window. It was unlike any light she had ever seen. It beckoned with an otherworldly hue, casting a warm golden shimmer across the faces around her. The room fell silent, breaths caught in unison as they turned to glimpse what lay outside. The door creaked slightly, unanswered until her son, Samuel, feet barely touching the floor, pushed it open. With wide eyes, he stared at the miraculous sight unfolding before them. Outside, the village square was alive with a radiant luminescence. Sarah felt a stirring within her, a pull toward that unusual light, as if a promise had been made. The neighbors exchanged curious glances, sparks of wonder igniting in their eyes. "What is this?" Mrs. Eldridge whispered, clutching her shawl tightly. Sarah felt the call, a whisper urging her forward. She pulled on her coat, and in unison, her children and the gathering stepped outside, drawn together by the strange illumination. The square, once mere cobble and stone, transformed before their eyes. Joyful laughter threaded through the air as villagers emerged from their homes. Souls once wrapped in solitude now stood reveling under the brilliant glow, singing carols that floated towards the heavens. It was a chorus that transcended time, bridging every heart, both young and old, inviting them into a collective experience of magic. The shimmering light pulsed with each note, suffusing the atmosphere. Sarah felt her heart beat in rhythm with it. The air was thick, charged with something sacred, something divine. Could this be a sign? She thought, her spirit soaring alongside the melody, a chorus of possibilities bubbling within. As they danced together beneath that heavenly glow, a gentle breeze picked up. It carried with it whispers, soft as feathers, urging them to unlock long-held aspirations and dreams. The villagers began to share stories, old grievances soothing into laughter, bonds mended with the spirit of the season. Secrets of kindness spilled forth like refreshing rain, washing away past burdens. Then, as if the heavens had opened a secret passage, an elder stepped forward. His presence commanded attention, his beard white like freshly fallen snow. "This light," he proclaimed, "is a reminder that we are never alone. It is the love of God, shining brightly in our lives, inviting each of us to partake in His miracles." Sarah felt tears welling in her eyes. Those words echoed deep within her, sole reminder that their gathering was not only about holiday cheer, but a rekindling of faith and connection. The warmth of community flowed through her, as she witnessed the hands of God weaving them into a brighter future. Yet, as they laughed and celebrated, Sarah sensed another stirring, one that spoke of even deeper journeys ahead. What was God preparing them for in the wake of such profound joy? Following this radiant Christmas Eve, would they be bold enough to pursue new paths illuminated by faith? With hearts alight, they celebrated the miracle of togetherness, unaware of the divine mission that awaited them just beyond the horizon. The air crackled with excitement as shadows danced under the glowing light. Sarah looked around, eyes wide, drinking in the scene, the laughter, the harmony, the sensation of being cradled in love. Her heart felt like it was floating, a balloon released into the clear sky. A group of children, their faces bright with innocence and joy, dashed towards the center of the square. They spun in circles, their laughter mingling with the melodies lifted by the wind. Sarah's daughter, Emma, joined them, and Sarah couldn't help but smile at the sight. The freedom of childhood seemed amplified by this miracle. It was as if the light was pouring joy right into their hearts. Yet, amid this celebration, Sarah held a longing. Something deeper lurked beneath the joyous surface. Each heart around her beat in strong unity, yet she felt an individual yearning. What role was she to play in this unfolding miracle? Was it her spirit, newly ignited, guiding her toward a task awaiting her embrace? In a quiet moment, Sarah drifted towards the edge of the gathering. She sought solace among the whispers of the breeze, her thoughts adrift like the twinkling stars above her. Responses rose within her like bubbling springs, questions of faith and destiny. Suddenly, she found herself captivated by the elder's words. "Remember," he had said, "light illuminates what is hidden." What did that mean for her? As she pondered, a sense of purpose crept in, brushing against her spirit like the softest caress. Emma rushed back, breathless with excitement. "Mama, can we light candles? We can share the light." Her request stirred something in Sarah, a flicker of inspiration igniting. Without hesitation, she gathered her children and approached the elder again. "Sir, could we light candles? We want to share this light and let it spread beyond our village." His wise eyes twinkled. "You are indeed wise, young one. This light wants to travel far and wide, but it must begin within you. Let your hearts be the flames igniting each candle." With that, the spark of an idea flourished. The villagers began gathering simple candles, fragile vessels of hope. Each member lit their candle from the shared flame, eyes gleaming with anticipation. Together, they formed a radiant circle in the square. As the flickering flames danced, Sarah sensed their collective spirit merging a brightness that exceeded the square, spreading into the night like rippling waves. She realized this was no ordinary Christmas Eve. It was a divine invitation. "Let's take this light to each home," Samuel proposed. "We'll light the way for all." Sarah's heart soared at their unity. "Yes, we shall bring warmth and love to everyone, filling our village with hope." The villagers, now united by a common mission, began moving from door to door, their soft melodies shimmering through the air. There was a joy in their service, a rhythm of love pulsating between them. As they shared their light, they began to notice transformations, flickers of gratitude illuminating every heart they encountered. Words of appreciation and joy filled the air. But in the midst of this wondrous exchange, Sarah caught sight of something moving at the edge of the square. A figure stood apart from the celebration, cloaked in shadows. Who were they, and what story awaited their light? As the village glowed, questions hung in the air, like the last note of a beloved song, knowing that a new chapter of faith was yet to unfold. The figure lingered, swathed in an aura of mystery. Sarah's instinct sharpened. sensing the weight of their presence. She turned her gaze fully towards them, her heart quickening. Who were they? Was this soul in need of the very light they were sharing? As she stepped away from the warmth of her group, the flickering glow of the candles cast dancing shadows that mingled with her uncertain steps. "Excuse me," she called softly, her voice a thread weaving through the laughter. Emma paused, curious, tugging at her mother's skirt. "Let's see who that is," Sarah whispered, her curiosity igniting a spark of courage. As they drew closer, the figure slowly revealed itself. A young man, his face lined with shadows and weariness, looked up, his eyes reflected a depth of sorrow, as if holding burdens too heavy to carry alone. "Are you lost?" Sarah asked gently, noticing the way his gaze darted between the vibrant lights and his own cloak of darkness. "No, I just felt drawn here," he replied, his voice raw yet tender. "I thought I might find solace among the joy." Sarah felt a stirring in her heart, a sense that she had met him in another life, or perhaps in the essence of shared humanity. "We're sharing our light tonight," she invited, her voice bridging the divide. "You're welcome to join us. Light travels far, you know." The young man hesitated, his expression conflicted. "I don't think I belong among them. My heart is too burdened. I'm not worthy of your light." With sincere compassion, Sarah stepped closer, her candle now held before her like a beacon of hope. "But that is exactly why you are welcome. Light finds us in our darkest places. You deserve this light, just as much as any of us." As if hearing her words for the first time, the young man's eyes shimmered with unshed tears. "You don't know what I've been through," he murmured, fear catching in his throat. "True, I don't," Sarah acknowledged, her voice steady. "But each one of us carries a story. Each shadow within us has fought against the light. Let us share and weave our tales together. You may find that your burdens are lighter among friends." A flicker of hope danced in his eyes. Tentatively, he stepped forward, drawn to the warmth radiating from her candle. The soft glow illuminated his face, revealing traces of the joy he had long thought lost. "Come," Sarah urged again, extending a welcoming hand. "Share your story with us, with our village. We are stronger together." As they made their way back to the circle, the villagers turned their gaze upon the newcomer, with curiosity and kindness. The air thrummed with the promise of acceptance, a collective heartbeater family of hearts beating in unison. The young man stood in the light of countless candles, his shadow gradually dimming, as if the flame had taken on his burdens. Whispers of encouragement surrounded him, creating a cocoon of warmth. It was clear that their shared light was already beginning to heal. Yet, amid this moment of connection, Sarah could feel an unexpected pulse in her heart, a mysterious urge whispering to her soul. Was there more to this encounter? Did the darkness hold deeper secrets waiting to be revealed? Her spirit danced with the quiet thrill of possibilities. The celebration continued around them. But in that single point of connection with the young man who felt unworthy of the light, Sarah sensed the stirring of something greater. What if their story intertwined in ways she could not yet fathom? What if their paths would lead toward a deeper understanding of faith and healing? As the candles flickered around them, illuminating dark corners and hidden truths, the night held its breath, ready for the next revelation. The circle buzzed with a newfound energy. Faces turned toward the young man, eager and welcoming. Their smiles glowed like the candles, each one a fragment of hope igniting within him. Sarah felt an unshakable sense that this moment was a divine intersection, where light met shadow. "What's your name?" A warm voice broke the silence, a kind-hearted woman named Lila, with gentle eyes like the sky on a clear day. The young man hesitated, as if the question itself bore weight. "Jacob," he whispered, the name escaping him like a secret tucked away for far too long. "Welcome, Jacob. We are all family here." Lila smiled, and Sarah could see the flicker of trust beginning to glow in his heart. As they settled into the circle, laughter and stories unfolded, wrapping around Jacob like a soft blanket. Each tale shared was a candle carried by another, merging their lights. Though he arrived fraught with sorrow, he listened as fragments of joy were exchanged. Bit by bit, through stories of struggle and perseverance, the shadows within him began to recede. These lights represent our struggles as much as our joys, Sarah explained, gesturing to the small flames dancing delicately. Each one is a reminder that even the tiniest spark can illuminate the heaviest darkness. We are never alone in this journey. Jacob's breath hitched at her words. He could feel their truth resonating in his spirit. A flicker of warmth moved through him, meeting the aches that had resided in his heart for far too long. As tales of triumph over despair continued, Sarah could see Jacob's posture shift. His shoulders relaxed, the heaviness lifting, as though each laugh shared peeled away a layer of grief. Then, amidst the festive atmosphere, a stillness settled over them. Sarah felt it first, a gentle whisper of the divine, a call to deeper connection. It was then that Emma, her little girl, with wide, trusting eyes, stepped forward. "Jacob, will you tell us what made you sad?" Her innocence cut through the gaiety like a sharp breeze, drawing all eyes to him. Sarah's heart skipped a beat. It was a bold question, but one rooted in love and understanding, a beckoning to uncover deeper healing. Jacob hesitated, and for a fleeting moment, fear clouded his eyes. But, feeling the warmth of their gathering, he found the courage to speak. "I've lost so much, my home, my family. I felt abandoned, like I was wandering in a desert with no end." The air thickened with emotion. Murmurs of compassion rippled through the crowd, as hearts resonated with his struggle. Sarah could feel empathy swell, creating a tapestry of solidarity binding them together. "Sometimes, in our deepest grief, we find the most powerful light," she offered gently. "Those moments can guide us. Can you see it, Jacob? You are not alone. Your story is a part of ours now." Her words struck a chord deep within him. Jacob's voice broke as he responded, "I thought I was a shadow, unworthy of the light. But I can see now. Perhaps shadows can teach us to appreciate the light even more." The villagers nodded in agreement. Their spirits lifted as he began to recognize his worth. Could it be that the very darkness he feared held the key to his freedom? And as laughter returned, intertwining with the flickering candlelight, something shifted in the air. Jacob's small revelation breathed possibilities into the night. Traces of hope danced, illuminating not just his spirit but also the spirits of all who gathered. But as they celebrated, Sarah felt yet another whisper, a gentle tugging at her heart, a sense of urgency coursing through her. What if their shared light was just the beginning? What if they were all being called to face their shadows and find healing together? As they basked in the warmth of connection, the night brimmed with wonder, waiting to unveil yet more divine surprises. The night extended like a tender embrace, the air thick with anticipation. As laughter mingled with the soft crackle of the flames, Jacob felt a warmth growing in his chest. It was a sensation he had long thought lost, buried beneath the weight of his sorrow. Encouraged by the villagers' encouragement, he shared more about his journey, his voice steadying with each word. "Maybe the desert I wandered through was a gift," he mused quietly, his newfound confidence weaving through the stories of others. "Maybe it was God's way of showing me the depths of my spirit." The villagers nodded, their eyes sparkling with understanding. Uneasiness in Jacob's heart softened further, revealing something, perhaps a flicker of hope, that had laid dormant. Leela reached out, placing her hand gently on Jacob's shoulder. "You see, in the darkest places, we often find our true selves," she said, her voice soothing like a balm. "God uses our journeys to lead us back to Him." As she spoke, Sarah noticed Emma, her daughter, gazing up at the stars peeking through the darkness above. The girl's small figure radiated innocence and wonder, sparking an idea in Sarah's heart. "Jacob," she called softly, drawing the young man's attention. "Why don't we take a moment to reflect together? Let's look upward, find the light above us, and remember how it shines through us too." The group turned their faces to the sky, the twinkling stars beginning to reveal heavenly patterns, guiding their hearts higher. It was as if a collective breath was drawn, the air vibrating with prayer and unity. In that instant, Sarah felt a barrier dissolve, linking them through an ethereal bond woven with shared experience and love. Think about the light you once felt, she urged, the moments of warmth amidst the shadows. Can you envision how those memories guide you toward healing? Jacob closed his eyes, imagining flickers of laughter shared with friends, the love of family, even fleeting moments of joy that had punctuated his struggles. He began to see not just the shadows, but the light that had been quietly waiting to be recognized. Each star felt like a reminder of connection, of divine blessings yet to be uncovered. Encouraged by the stillness, other villagers began to voice their own stories, each sharing their shadows and the illuminating light that emerged from them. One by one, they stepped forward to recount how they too had been drawn through hardship toward a place of healing and grace. Maybe, said a gentle voice from the back, it's in these hard times that we find our true purpose. The speaker, an older gentleman named Thomas, rose slowly. His presence commanded respect, while also radiating warmth. Yes, Sarah exclaimed, her spirit lifted by this shared acknowledgement. What if we would allow ourselves to embrace both shadows and light? Maybe that is where the transformation truly begins. The conversation shifted toward the idea of vulnerability and strength residing in the same breath. Each heartbeat echoed a truth. Healing often required a lifting of weight, a surrendering of the past. As the evening wore on, the group celebrated the stories and the shared revelations, their hearts bound by the tapestry of experiences. In these moments, Jacob felt his spirit transform, as if past chains were falling away. But just as their joy reached a crescendo, a breeze swept through the gathering. Sarah's heart quickened with unspoken thoughts a divine nudge. What if their collective healing journey led to something bigger? What if they formed a beacon of light in their community, a vessel for change and renewal? As the last flickers of the candlelight danced their final dance, the air thickened with expectation. The night whispered promises yet unspoken, urging them forward into the unknown. The stillness of the night felt almost sacred, a hush that invited deeper contemplation. Jacob opened his eyes, momentarily lost in the possibilities swirling around him. The flickering light from the candles seemed to pulse with life, an echo of hope shared among friends. He glanced around at the gathering, their faces illuminated by the soft glow, and felt a powerful sense of belonging wash over him. Lila's voice broke through his reverie. Can you imagine what it would feel like to step into that light? She asked, her words wrapping around Jacob like a warm embrace. To rise above the pain, to become pillars of strength for one another. Sarah's heart raced. What if we turned this moment into something lasting? What if we held regular gatherings to share our stories, to confront our hardships together? The villagers glanced at one another, the idea loosening a chain of excitement. A ripple of agreement spread through the crowd, like a spark igniting a flame. Encouraged by their response, Sarah continued, let's not just meet to share burdens, let's find nourishment for our spirits. We can uplift each other, pray together, and share the light we each carry within us. Jacob felt a stirring deep inside him, the thought of transformation, not just for himself, but for the entire community, felt profound. It was as if a divine whisper had begun to echo in his mind, calling him toward a purpose beyond his own battles. Maybe, perhaps sharing this light can help us all shine brighter, he murmured, tentative yet hopeful. At the mention of purpose, Thomas stepped forward again. Each time we come together, it's an act of bravery. We are taking ownership of our journeys, not as lone travelers, but as a family. This is how we break isolation through connection. His weathered hands gestured to the circle of villagers, and a collective murmur of approval rose in the air. Emma, who had been quietly observing, suddenly spoke up, her childlike sincerity cutting through the murmurs. I want to hear those stories. I want to know how everyone became brave. Because maybe then I can be brave too. Her eyes shone with determination, making those present smile warmly. Feeling the warmth of their hearts converging, Jacob spoke with more conviction. What if we created a space where all voices matter? A place for laughter, for tears, for healing through sharing. It was a bold step, but the words flowed freely, ignited by the encouragement of those around him. As discussions flourished, a few villagers began to suggest gathering at the park every week. Under the sprawling oak tree that had witnessed countless stories over generations, it would become their sacred ground, a haven of healing, love, and light. A sudden breeze swept through the area again, carrying with it a tantalizing scent of wildflowers, as if the universe itself was celebrating their plans. Jacob felt it rattle his spirit. Are we truly ready to welcome this change? He asked, half expecting answers to emerge from the depths of their hearts. The echoes of laughter and joy filled the air, weaving through their resolution like a golden thread. Yet, as excitement bubbled to the surface, a question lingered: how would they sustain this new light that flickered to life among them? As the candles flickered once more in the growing dark, an air of anticipation settled over the group. They were on the cusp of something extraordinary. A movement that promised to transcend their individual trials, something undeniably divine. But just as the gathering began to loosen its hold on the ordinary, a sense of urgency bubbled forth. What if the true test of our connection comes from the trials ahead? Jacob pondered aloud, the weight of his own past igniting the conversation once more. In the depths of uncertainty and wonder, a new chapter awaited all, marked by the promise of divine purpose. Would their light shine through every challenge thrown their way, or would the shadows threaten to swallow them again? As the villagers huddled together, the flickering candlelight turned their concern into determination. It was not just the agreements spoken aloud. It was the unbreakable bond forming between them, each heart resonating with hope, unearthing the power of communal faith. Jacob felt it deep within. He had stumbled into a family he never knew he needed. As his mind danced with possibilities, Sarah stepped forward. Let's make a pact. We will meet every week. Not just to gather, but to support one another in love and spirit, sharing not only our joys but our challenges. Her voice trembled, a mixture of resolve and vulnerability washing over her. Yes, we can uplift each other, Lila added, her eyes shining as she clasped Jacob's hand. This is not the end, but the beginning, the first pages in this wondrous story we write together. As they murmured their agreement, Sarah sensed a divine energy swirling amongst them, bringing whispers of promises. It felt like a call, louder now, urging them to believe not just in the magic they'd witnessed that night, but in the power they held collectively. With renewed passion, Jacob spoke up. Each candle we lit tonight bears witness to our journey, to all we have been through, but they also symbolize what we are capable of achieving together. The crowd nodded, their spirits invigorated by the vibrancy of his words. Fears transformed into visions of healing, laughter birthed from encouragement, and warmth enveloped them as if the universe conspired to cradle their resolve. They could see themselves coming together under that ancient oak tree, sharing their burdens and delighting in victories. Yet, amid this unfolding tapestry, Sarah felt an urgency rise within her. The blessed night brimmed with gifts, love, connection, and healing. But what lay on the horizon? What awaited their newly formed circle of resolve? As if responding to her thoughts, an older gentleman at the back spoke up. What about those still in darkness? The ones who we may not see? How do we shine for them? His words hung in the air, prompting reflection amongst the gathering. Sarah's heart raced. The urgency had intensified. Yes, we must send this light further. It needs to reach those who feel too lost to find their way. We cannot let our flame flicker out for the sake of our own joy. She could feel a collective understanding swelling, binding them tightly together. Jacob's eyes lit with determination. What if we create a mission? A way to offer help and love to those in need. Not just words, but actions that speak louder than anything. Eager murmurs rippled through the crowd, hearts racing at the prospect. Ideas began to unfurl like petals in the morning sun, blossoming forth with potential. They could organize drives, create care packages, set meals on doorsteps for those who couldn't quite make it, and support families striving to overcome hardship. Together, we can become the hope others have lost, Lila declared. We will harness this light, and we will not shy away from the challenge. Just as we've learned to carry each other's burdens, we can show that same love to others. The clarity sparkled in Jacob's eyes, as if a door within had opened to let the light spill forth. And in sharing this promise, we will become living testaments of change, showing that no one is ever truly alone. We'll stand against the shadows together. Sarah felt the words roll over her like a wave of reverence, washing away remnants of doubt. Together, they were more than individuals, they were a source of strength, a testament to divine love finding its way into the most weary of hearts. As the night deepened, the warmth enveloped them, and the candles danced toward the heavens. They prayed together, united in requests for strength, guidance, and the wisdom to act on the urgency of their newfound mission. The flickering flames mirrored their spirit's brightness, illuminating hidden corners, rekindling a sense of purpose that stretched far beyond the moment. In that radiant space, tears mingled with laughter, blending joy and gratitude with the promise. What awaited their village, what challenges or blessings would come next? As they prayed for direction, Sarah's heart swelled with a peaceful assurance. God had ignited something profound within her and among them. A divine movement extending beyond the village's cobbled streets. Leaving behind shadows, they began to bask in the warmth of love and unity, the flickering of their candles illuminating the path ahead. The kiss of hope whispered promises that they would encounter both light and darkness, yet they would face it all together, emboldened and strengthened by every shared story. Then came the command to act, the urgency of love demanding their next steps. Would they rise together, acknowledge the shadows, and shine for those still lost? The answer was in their clasped hands, their souls intertwined in purpose, driven by the Spirit of God, ready to head into the world once again. Now was the moment for their light to truly shine. If you've felt the stirrings in your heart, if this journey resonates with you, you need to subscribe immediately to the channel. Don't miss out on more exclusive faith stories that could transform your life. Leave a like now to fuel the algorithm. Your support is crucial in helping spread these vital messages. Comment below with your reactions and testimonies about this remarkable ending. We want to hear how this story has moved you. Don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Be a part of spreading this divine light. Only true servants of God understand the importance of lifting each other up through every action we take.